You're listening to the Arkansas AgCast, where we discuss the latest news, trends, and issues impacting Arkansas farmers and ranchers. Our show is brought to you by the Arkansas Farm Bureau Federation and hosted by Rob Anderson and Jason Brown.
Yep, unfortunately, that's the truth.
Yes.
She tells no lies.
Hosted by us, sadly for you all.
You know what?
Welcome back.
Actually, I'll pat us on the back. I think we do pretty good, considering all the other tasks that we tend to juggle.
We run in here and we knock this thing out, and it is we're giving it at least 70%.
No, I think we do pretty good.
Stop giving away trade secrets.
Sometimes we're trying to get that news for you up until the last minute.
We really did today. Yeah. I mean, we really did do some of that today. You know, it's just funny, though. We joke about that, but I was asking Brian when I got in here, and like, hey, man, can we catch up after this? Maybe I got a couple things to ask you about. And he's like, Monday. Yeah. You know, like
yeah.
we could have put the podcast off and had that meeting, but instead we're going to do the podcast, and Brian and I will talk on Monday.
That is right.
That's right.
Well, it has been a busy week.
Yeah,
I mean, it continues to be all the way through Friday,
and that's part of it. There's just a lot going on right now. And a lot popping
everywhere.
Yeah.
Let's start with talking about the event we had yesterday.
We had a very nice event yesterday here in Little Rock at the 4 Points over on University, 4 Points by Sheraton.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
Diversity in Ag Conference. And it's the third year we've done this, and we cover a lot of topics in that, and some great panels, great speakers, really good attendance this year. I think we technically sold out based on capacity.
I think we sold out and then accidentally let a few more slip through the door, honestly, based on what the room looked like yesterday.
I mean, there were a lot of great topics. We heard some successful farming stories from some very different types of operations, very different backgrounds. That was well received. We had Amberly Snyder was the keynote speaker. She's a unique story. There's a Netflix film based on her life.
Yep. Walk Ride Rodeo.
That's right. She was actually a guest star on Yellowstone.
Yes, season 3, I believe. Brian told us.
But she was paralyzed from the waist down in a car accident, but she is still a rodeo barrel racer, and she is a champion at that, and she is also a motivational speaker. And so we had some people. I believe there was a young lady who came with her grandmother just to see and meet her, so that was interesting.
Yeah.
But and you know, there was discussion of some serious topics too, heirs and property.
Yeah, I sat in on that one, and that was really serious and really helpful. You know, that estate planning when it comes to farm and land ownership is just not as easy as some people think it is.
And you had a great, an interesting panel there, and you had an expert from the Ag Law Center, National Ag Law Center of the University of Arkansas. And then there was another panel with Dr. Dwayne Goldman, USDA Senior Advisor for Racial Equity. He's an Arkansas guy, Arkansas farmer. He is just an interesting individual, and he had a strong perspective on some issues. And he was with Dr. Ron Rainey at the University of Arkansas, good friend of ours, and you know he spoke to us about the importance of this event and everything that comes out of it, and all the good information exchanged, and the people and the connections that are made. So it was a good day all around, I think.
Wrapped up by a friend of the Arkansas AgCast, Dr. DQ Fields.
That is correct. Yes, that's right. He talked about that. He saw me yesterday. Said,
every time he sees me now, he's like, podcast. I'm like, ribeye. But yeah, I mean, it was jam-packed. I mean, great folks there from the Ag Department, of course, the university, USDA, and then just really a lot of farmers.
Yeah.
You know, and I heard some of the farmers talking about, hey, you've got cattle now, right? Or, you know, a lot of forestry folks there. I just was really impressed by the turnout. Great job by Philip Powell on our team and government affairs team here.
Correct.
I mean, it was
good
really
to share those kudos because they did a great job. I mean, again, and the questions. I mean, you got into issues of how the USDA works and what they do, and then but also looking ahead to the future and how we deal and prepare for natural disasters and all that. There's a lot of good discussion, a lot of good questions.
Yeah, it was a good day. Something that is a couple things that did not happen this week, but are happening.
Yes.
One is in 30 days. I looked it up right before we went on.
I know what you're going to say.
Yeah, the
smell corn
state
dogs.
fair,
Yeah.
the funnel cake. Oh, maybe we should do like a best state fair food conversation on this podcast as it gets closer.
We should have the foods.
I remember.
Yes.
So I'm going to talk about this.
Yeah.
Last year we went out as a team and had lunch at the state fair and shot a video with it, and it ends with a certain producer of this show making a pretty star-studded appearance in that video.
Well, yeah, it was a lot of fun. We were all talking with our mouths full.
My stomach hurts already thinking about it. So.
Yeah, but it's 30 days away. I believe the fair kicks off October 14th. State fair. Of course, we'll be out there. We are a sponsor of the fair, and we'll be out there.
I think we'll probably do a live broadcast out there.
Yeah, I think that's what the talk is. So if we can figure out.
Brian, are you ready? Are you ready? Because Brian's going to have to set all that up. So.
I have a feeling, ready or not, it's going to happen.
Here we come.
So
Look, I have a pitch. Me and you and Brian, we get on the Ferris wheel. He just goes live on his iPhone,
holding a boom mic,
selfie stick, and a boom.
Yeah,
and this is how we. We'll be much more organized than that, but we are gonna try and broadcast the podcast.
Obviously, Arkansas Farm Bureau is very involved. A lot of stuff with the shows and the kids out there showing their animals. It's a lot going on.
See, that's just not a good mix because my mind automatically goes to we eat a bunch of fair food, we get on the Ferris wheel, and we get stuck.
Does that? Oh yeah. Well,
and then,
that's
we just keep going. We keep recording. It'll be the longest podcast.
Yeah. Well, anyway, State Fair. That's a lot of fun. I'm definitely looking forward to that.
Something else, a little bit of fun, is Rock City Burger Week, which is coming up. This is the Beef Council. Arkansas Beef Council is involved in this. Okay. Basically, a whole lot of hamburger and cheeseburger eating, September 26th through October 2nd.
My kind of event.
Yes. Participating restaurants in Little Rock will be offering special $9 beef burgers all week long. So it sounds amazing. You have some of the restaurants, I believe, some of the restaurants that are participating.
Yeah, that's right. I was looking at the list, and from what I understand, the list is still growing. So, and I only brought just a few. Rosie's downtown on right off of 6th Street. By the way, I haven't eaten there.
Oh my gosh!
But I hear you guys talk about it.
That you've got to do that.
Is the burger
as big a foodie as you are, and you haven't been to Rosie's?
Yeah,
man.
I follow them on Instagram and Facebook and those things. And
get there early. That's all I got to say.
Really, they sell out. They
are a packed house just about every day, and they sell out of stuff.
Yeah, I think it was waitresses that started that restaurant.
Okay.
Like they were working in the service industry and decided we want to make a go of it ourselves. Anyway, sorry, I digress. Rosie's on the list. Bennett's, which is in my neck of the woods, right outside North Little Rock, by Keith and Company. Fantastic food. I can't brag on that place enough. Town Pump, a famous burger in Little Rock, and then another famous burger in Little Rock is Dugan's Pub. There are more on the list. Dizzy, South on Main,
Loca Luna, Big Whiskey, but a lot of places, you can see all of them. There's some information about it at arfb.com.
Okay.
We have the official announcement of the week there, so you can see all of that happening. And then there's, I think, a chance for people, if you show your receipts, there's a way that you can win a tailgating grill package.
Oh, nice. Well, I know I counted almost 20, if not 20 already. And the deal is, I think you get, each of these restaurants will do a special burger for Burger Week, which is September 26th through October 2nd. And it's a $9 burger, I think. So you go in, you get this special burger at the restaurant for $9, and you could win this tailgating package if you get enough.
PK Go tailgating grill package and gift cards. But anyway, go eat as many of these burgers as you can.
Yeah.
Try them all out. You decide what you like is the best burger, or you think is the best burger here in town. But
look, at the end of the day, regardless of the tailgating package, you're supporting the Arkansas beef industry and
enjoying good food.
Enjoying good food. So even if you eat one of these burgers, take a picture, post it on social, and
definitely
share it out.
Well, I guess we better get into some news now.
We better. I know I've got at at least one long story today. So, and I think you do too.
Yeah, I think I do too.
All right. Well, we were prepared to kick off today's show, speaking of, with the news of an impending railroad strike.
Would have been a big downer of a kickoff.
Man, that would have been tough.
Yeah.
And we'll tell you why. Which has been arguably really the most talked about headline in the world of ag news this week. You can't avoid that conversation. The potential for a freight rail worker strike was very real, but the fate of that and the country's rail system seems to be soothed for the moment. To give a bit of background, that threat escalated really pretty quickly over the past week and got really dire yesterday when some U.S. railroads planned to start halting crop shipments, according to a report from Reuters and based on sources who were close to the situation. I know Amtrak also canceled several of their routes as well in anticipation of that strike.
They were prepared that this was going to happen.
Yeah, it seemed all but imminent.
Always a lot of drama, and it seems like it's always last minute in these types of things.
Yeah. Well, the news was crucial in a number of ways. The news that the strike is not happening, but it's amplified based on this time of year, which is harvest. That's one reason that we were paying so close attention to this. When farmers are looking to move their crops and products to market while receiving certain inputs to apply once the crop is out of the field. So not only harvesting and moving that along, but the inputs that should be coming in that they'll be applying once that crop is harvested. So trying to calculate the impact of such a situation playing out would have been difficult. But we know that U.S. Class I railroads transported nearly 1.5 million carloads of grain in 2020, including corn, soybeans, and processed soybeans like soy meal or soy oil. In addition to the concern from row crop farmers, the strike had the potential to create havoc in the poultry and livestock industry. This story is developing, of course, but as of now, we know that that the strike is off. For the moment, we can put concerns at ease. According to the Associated Press and many others, President Joe Biden announced today that a tentative railway labor agreement has been reached, averting a nationwide strike. It appears as if rail operations are ramping back up. I know Amtrak's already stated they're going to be back online tomorrow, whereas some of those, like Amtrak and others, had preemptively halted as the negotiation deadline was looming. Again, why are we telling you this when the situation was resolved? Number one, we need to understand just the potential for impact here.
Oh, yeah.
Number two, you guys can understand that. Then if something like this, God forbid, ever happens again, understand why it's so important to farmers.
And I think a lot of people tend to forget. They think of the railroad as sort of a relic or something. Unless you're in a big city going from up and down the East Coast. But it's so important and so critical to transport of some of these things that the farmers grow, and it's such an important part. They were talking about it was going to have a huge impact on an already bad situation with inflation.
Yeah,
because once again, you're going to have shortages and problems getting things to stores. It would have been a big problem, especially for farmers this time of year.
I hate to even throw this out there because I can't quote it. I believe it was NPR, but it was something like 1 day shutdown equates to like 2 weeks of backlog or something like that. So, it was going to be just brutal.
Right.
And a good reminder, like you said, it's not a relic. It's not a pastime. This is a really important role that the nation's rail system plays here. So,
well, again, very important. Glad we avoided having to talk about the pain that would have caused. Let's instead touch on a few positive news items that have popped up in the last few days. On Tuesday, an Arkansas Legislative Committee advanced the Arkansas Department of Agriculture's request for spending authority to use $280 million in federal American Rescue Plan funds for water, wastewater, and irrigation projects in Arkansas. Now, obviously, these types of things water projects have a big impact on farming.
Oh, yeah.
The Department of Agriculture's request includes $5 million in federal American Rescue Plan funds for a White River Irrigation District project to construct 5 county road crossings over a 10-mile canal segment that is under construction as phase 1 of the Grand Prairie project, and $5 million for the Bayou Meadow
Biomeda.
Yeah, I knew that. I don't know. You see it on paper, it doesn't look right. Because I'm
You
used
know
to
what the
saying
deal
Biomeda,
is?
and I was
You've
like,
been
hey, wait,
gone
that's
from
an
Baton
O?
Rouge too long.
That's an O?
That's
Yeah,
the deal,
you're right.
really.
Biomeda Water Management District project to construct 10 pumping stations for water delivery. So again, all these water projects very crucial to agriculture. So anytime we were seeing positive momentum on these projects, and I know a lot of them have been long in coming. So that was some good news. This was part of a broader discussion on American Rescue Fund spending. A report in the Arkansas Democrat-Gazette noted that the state plans to use the bulk of $158 million in federal American Rescue Plan capital project funds for broadband grants, which is another big topic that we've been talking about for quite some time.
Yeah.
So a lot of this funding that was being discussed and approved has impact on rural communities and agriculture. More news on federal funding.
Okay.
We're not going to stop there.
Good.
This is something that came up actually during yesterday's Diversity and Agriculture Summit, during a panel that included Dr. Duane Goldman, USDA Senior Advisor for Racial Equity. The Biden administration announced $2.8 billion in pilot projects aimed at developing markets for climate-smart commodities in every state and across a wide range of commodities and farm types.
Mm.
I think it was like 70 projects, I think they announced on
Wow.
Wednesday, Secretary Vilsack, and they involve a wide range of farm and environmental groups, as well as minority farmer groups, American Indian tribes, and some of the largest food companies out there, from PepsiCo to Nestle and Smithfield Foods, and another $700 million for smaller projects that will be awarded later. As you may have heard, Riceland Foods, I know this has already hit the news, Riceland Foods here in Arkansas, in partnership with Winrock International, Arva Intelligence, Blue Racer, and the Intertribal Agriculture Council received $20 million of these funds to create a farmer-friendly system to support the adoption of climate-smart practices and interact with commodity buyers in climate-smart markets. In the official announcement, Riceland President and CEO Jason Bransel said, "Today's announcement reinforces Riceland's In-Grain Good Carbon Ready initiative adds value for our farmer members. We're excited about this opportunity to work collectively with the USDA in our efforts to reward farmers for climate-smart agronomic agricultural practices." By USDA's account, there are 13 projects involving beef cattle and other livestock, 13 covering fruits and vegetables, 12 corn and soybean projects, 9 involving dairy operations, 6 covering cotton, peanuts, and nuts, and 3 involving hay, grass, and energy crops. All 50 states and Puerto Rico will be involved in at least one of these projects. So there's a lot of money going out centered around these projects, but interesting to see some of that coming to Arkansas projects.
Really fascinated by the speed of that. I attended the A-State Agribusiness Conference. I think it was on Valentine's Day this year. It's usually right there in the middle of February. This was announced like while we were there. The whole Climate Smart Project initiative.
Well,
So, and here we are in September, literally, I guess 7 months later, and the money's being handed out.
And I think
amazing.
the amount has ggone up since it was originally announced. So it's a lot more than they originally laid out. So it's interesting to see what's happening.
Yeah, and a little pat on the back for our team. We have certainly gone out and talked to Riceland before, but we've gone out and done a couple of videos with Arva Intelligence. They're doing some really interesting work down there in Humnoke and beyond. So anyway, really cool to see and a great story.
So that was my good news segment of the show.
I like it.
Yeah, I do what I can.
I've got some good news for soybean farmers.
That's nice.
Yeah, the markets are up this week thanks to an adjustment of production forecast by the USDA. Speaking of USDA, the department cut its forecast for U.S. soybean production in the September crop report, which was released Monday. And based on the market's reaction, the move caught most everybody by surprise. The Chicago Board of Trade November contract for soybeans was up 70 cents when I wrote this yesterday. And soon after the report was released. According to reporting from AgriPulse, commodity traders were expecting the opposite, an increase, actually, in forecasted production for soybeans in the report. The reality was a lowered prediction to 50.5 bushels per acre, down from last month's prediction of 51.9, just right under 52 bushels per acre. That's 1.5 bushels per acre cut
Mm.
using round numbers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The lower yield outlook resulted in USDA lowering its production forecast to almost 4.4 billion bushels in the latest WASDE report. That's the one I referenced that came out
Right.
Monday. That's a drop from last month's 4.5 billion bushels. So that's also below the estimate for last year's crop, which totaled 4.4, a little over 4.4 billion bushels per acre, or bushels total, rather. Corn and rice forecasts were also dropped, bringing the potential to see the smallest rice crop since the early 90s. I was in high school when the crop was that size, I should say. Cotton saw an actual bump upwards in production predictions. Now that we're seeing harvest take place in most of the country, we'll watch to see the reality of the situation and keep you updated. I do not have bushel numbers, yield numbers, but later in the podcast, we will share an update on harvest and crop quality.
And I'll have a little more to say about the cotton piece of this as well.
Nice.
So.
Well, until then, let's step away and hear a little bit more about our annual Farm Bureau membership.
Your Arkansas Farm Bureau membership supports our work on behalf of Arkansas farmers, ranchers, and rural communities around the state. From youth leadership programs and academic scholarships to hunger relief and disaster support, and much more. You can make a difference and be a champion for your community. Join today at arfb.com.
Did you know your $40 annual ARFB membership contributes to the work of being done in your local community? We've talked about this a lot lately, and you can learn more by calling your local county office or simply joining today at arfb.com. We've made it a lot easier to do that online, so check it out. And now let's get back to the news and about that cotton we were talking about.
Yeah, please do.
Cotton playing an important role in Arkansas. I wanted to dig into that a little bit. So there's some mixed news in that WASDE report on cotton. USDA revised cotton area planting up from a little over 12.4 million acres in August to 13.79 million acres. That's almost 19% higher than the 11.2 million acres planted in 2021.
Yeah.
With the revised 22-23 yield decrease from 846 pounds per acre in August to 843 pounds, that's 2.3% or 3.3% higher than 2021 yields. USDA estimates cotton production to reach 13.83 million 480-pound bales. That's unfortunately a decrease, or interestingly, a decrease of 21% compared to 2021, but up from last month's estimate by 10%. On the demand side, cotton domestic use remained unchanged from August at 2.3 million 480-pound bales, a decrease of 10% compared to 2021. However, estimates for cotton exports increased by 600,000 480-pound bales from August to September, now registering 12.6 million 480-pound bales, about 14% lower than exports in 2021. So, again, mixed bag for cotton.
Yeah.
And again, cotton important here, so I wanted to dig into that a little bit. And I guess we're getting close to the end of the news, but you've got some more.
We are. Yeah.
Give us that crop update.
a lot of cotton news in there.
Yeah.
Cotton, something you may be glad to know we won't be talking a lot about in this harvest update because it's not quite time yet.
Yep.
But
More
we're
later.
getting there. Corn currently sits at just over half harvested in the state, with the crop quality holding steady at just under 60%, rated good to excellent. As I mentioned, cotton bolls are opening. 57% of those are open, estimated at the beginning of the week. And it's a bit early for harvest, like I said, but the crop is faring well at nearly 70% good to excellent. Like I said, it's just really early, but cotton performing as far as quality goes, probably among the best of the crops in the state right now. Rice is moving right along with 24% harvested and over 70% rated good to excellent. Soybeans are in the very early days of harvest, if you can even call it that, with only 5% out of the field. We have a little over half the crop rated at a good to excellent quality. And as we've reported, USDA has some yield concerns on the crop soybean crop overall, so prices there have been on the rise, and have not looked at the markets in the last little bit, but I'm sure that's not changed much. It's busy on the rural highways and county roads. You guys hear us say this often, but please give extra time and space and room and patience with farmers. This time of year, everybody wants to get home safely, and that means that we, if we all work together, we can make that happen. So just beware as you're out driving on these rural roads.
It's a good, important reminder this time of year.
Yeah, certainly. All right. Well, that was a big, long news day.
Yeah, it was lots of crop news, but then lots of news on funding and everything. Lots of stuff happening, as we mentioned at the top. We weren't lying.
Yeah. So I will tell you, I find myself often a topic will come up somewhere in the office, and I'll say, "Yeah, we just talked about that on the podcast." So, if you're listening and enjoying what we talk about, but you don't know somebody, or somebody who may not be, give us a recommendation, give us a thumbs up, and pass it along. I think we're handing out some useful and helpful news along the way. So
I think we were about 70% rated good to excellent.
That's right. Well, you said we'd perform at about 70%. So probably less helpful, but the most fun we have all day, Brian. You have anything for us today?
Yeah, you ready for the other stuff?
Yeah, I am.
Okay. All right.
I am.
On this day in 1949.
Okay.
This show was originally a radio program, but it debuted on television for the first time.
What was the date again?
1949.
So it would have been September 15th, 1949. Originally a radio program, debuted on television.
The Lone Ranger.
Yes.
Oh, my goodness.
Lone Ranger.
I was thinking about the Honeymooners for some reason, but I don't think that would have debuted.
I'm good at trivia, bad at pronunciation.
Very good at trivia.
This was 1916. The British used this during World War I for the first time.
Submarine.
Nope.
Gas. Well, deadly gas.
I mean,
killer gas, whatever, poison gas. Trenches. No.
I should have been
automatic weapon.
No.
Okay.
It was a tank. The tank.
Wow.
We were giving
It was
a lot
used
of
for
credit.
the first time.
Tank.
Yes.
Okay.
All
All right. Well,
1978, Muhammad Ali won the World Heavyweight Championship for the first time, or for the third time, with his victory over, who? He
was
beat?
this the Thrill in Manila?
Frazier?
Nope.
Oh, Joe Frazier.
Nope.
George Foreman.
Nope. Leon Spinks.
Okay.
Leon Spinks.
All right.
And this guitarist died in 2004. He was 55.
2004 guitarist.
Punk rock.
Punk rock guitarist.
He was the founder of a band.
Music is my thing. Oh, is it one of the Ramones?
Johnny Ramone.
Johnny Ramone. Okay.
Yep.
All right. Well,
That's
hey,
all I got for you today. So
I
That's
pull
good
one out.
stuff.
You bring the
Yeah.
music. Stop quizzing us on history and the important stuff.
I can bring you some more entertainment
I
stuff.
can
so,
squeeze in
yeah,
there.
I mean,
Yeah.
I could bring you some more.
Don't ask me
Yeah.
how to say things. But
Look,
yes.
in your defense,
Yeah.
if you looked at Biometa,
Well, it threw me
there's
off,
no way it's
yeah.
pronounced the way it's
I
spelled.
see. Yeah. I'll take whatever excuse.
We
you
also
give me.
have
Thank you.
Nevada County in the
Yeah,
that's
state,
true.
El Dorado.
Right.
I mean,
That's-
look, we do things different.
I'm just glad you guys don't have me pronouncing a bunch of stuff because I would butcher it. I mean, every time.
It seems to only happen to Rob though. It'll
Yeah,
be
it's
like
just-
these.
That's why I have to redeem myself with trivia answers.
Yeah, I know. I'm just glad we do this part at the end of the show
Yeah.
and not the beginning because we would
That's-
completely discredit ourselves. And
Yeah,
nobody
that's right.
would
There
listen
you
to
go.
what we
That's
had to
right.
say.
That's right, for sure.
All right. Well, that wraps up the news for this week. Thanks for following along on the Arkansas AgCast. We're grateful for you taking the time to watch us and listen.
And remember, you can catch the live stream every Thursday at 2 p.m. on Facebook and YouTube. Make sure to set those notifications and get alerts when we go live. Listen to the audio version later on iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Should be available about 5 a.m. tomorrow. The Arkansas AgCast is brought to you by the Arkansas Farm Bureau and hosted by me, Jason Brown.
And me, Rob Anderson.
Our show is produced by Brian Pistole and Matthew Magdafrau.
We'll see you next week.